Well, I got you an update for the old lathe. Making some repairs. We're getting close. We're almost there. I think by the time Joey comes up, because he's going to do the wiring, I think by the time he gets here, we might have a functioning lathe. Let me kind of give you the rundown, because we're almost there. Yeah, I'll just kind of go over all the functions here. I had to kind of learn this as I was going. You know, I'm not a machinist. I'm just kind of figuring it out as I go. So I'll be putting it apart and say this thing, and I'm sure somebody out there is going to be like, that's called this, or that's called that, and I'm just going to say this thing, or this pain in the butt, or something like that. So let me kind of give you a rundown here. First of all, we'll start over here. What do they call this guy? The tail stop or something like that. There is nothing wrong with this guy. It functions as should. Everything. No issues. I gotta lube it up a little bit, but other than that, she's functioning. I can loosen it up, move it around, everything. That's the one part I have not had to touch. Now, over here. Now, we're gonna go over here. This is the main gearbox assembly and everything. This is where most of the work is gone, or nearly all of it, or most of it. So we'll kind of go over this. So, I had to tear it all apart because ran into issues with gears. And it does appear, my best guess is that they were trying to take the chuck off, put it in reverse, and use something to jam it. And when they did, they just ripped all the teeth off of one of the gears in there. Just shredded it. And another issue I found is that like the gears need to slide back and forth and stuff in order to kick in and out of gear. So the stuff on this side is in really bad shape. I only got one of those gears working, and that's this right here. Okay? Which is probably the one I'm going to use all the time. But like if I would rotate it all the way to the left and put it in gear, that's the one that's completely shredded. Now if I turn it to the right, it'll go into gear and function as should. Okay? I can throw it into neutral, and she's not neutral. There she is. And there she is. So that's neutral. And I think that might be no, I think it's a neutral because, so this would have to be a neutral because you need this in neutral in order to work these. So it'd be to the right, we'll put it in gear, in the middle would be neutral, and then I should be able to click it more to the left and put it in another gear, but that's not even possible. Those gears are shredded. Everything is seized and locked up. It broke the key and spun the gear on the key or in the shaft and everything. I can't even get it off. So since most of the teeth were missing, I just finished taking off all of the teeth, all of them. And that's basically how I have it running. So those gears are basically, it's still in there, but there's just no teeth on them. I might have to go back in there. I notice whenever I turn it that it almost feels like they're still touching, like they might be bumping. So I didn't seal up this seal here because I'm pretty certain I'm going to have to go in there and hit those teeth with a grinder and you know, just basically make it so there's no contact at all. Just every once in a while I can kind of feel a little bump in there, like the teeth are kind of grinding, but otherwise that's it. This area here I had a lot of trouble with. I discovered that, so there's 4 gears here. There's 4 different gears, and you turn these to select between the different gears. So right now this is neutral with the 2 arms face up and down. And these pins go in, and there's like another thing that comes up, and they kind of like windshield wiper and move the gears back and forth. And it looked like that somebody was wrenching on these really hard and took those other things and kind of, so they're attached to this with a set screw, and it looks like they were wrenching on these and they spun it, the shaft inside of that arm with the set screw, and really kind of boogered things up. So I had to pull it all off, sand it, put it back together in the correct position. And I had to figure out where the correct position was, you know, because they were completely off. So, like if I do this, that throws it in one gear. I got the motor hooked up, so she's a little hard to turn. But yeah, that's one gear. Take it here, wiggle a little bit. She's back into neutral. A little bit more. There's another gear. Then I take it, put it in neutral here, and I can rotate this one, put it in a gear. Then I can take it back to neutral, or rotate it this way to throw it into another gear. Now it looks like, as far as the gearing is concerned, this is the fastest gears. These are the medium gears, and these are the low gears. So that's what it seems like. And I counted how many revolutions here for the chuck. And this one here on the fastest gear is like 3 3/4 of a turn on the input shaft. Gives me 1 turn on the chuck. No, I'm wrong. I'm going backwards. For this one on the highest gear is for every 1 revolution on the input shaft, gives me 1 revolution on the chuck. So that'd be the highest gear. And every selection from there changes it to where it's like, it goes from like every 1 revolution to every 1.5 or 1 3/4. I think it goes to 1 3/4 for the next gear down. And then when I go to this, it goes to like 3 revolutions. So whenever I'm using this one, it changes to where I'm on.
I saw a bee.
Yeah, you see a B?
Yeah.
But whenever I change to this, it goes to like every 3 revolutions and every 3.5 revolutions. And this one here is, I think, 3 3/4, just shy of 4. I'm thinking it's closer to like 4 revolutions on the input shaft to this. So all of the turns, like I'm talking about, it's like every 1.5, 3 to 4. You know what I mean? Those are the gears that I'm here. The only thing that I'm missing is like a 2 revolution on the input shaft for every 1 revolution on the chuck. But it does appear as though everything here is functioning except that 1 gear. It's a 5-speed transmission, and one of the gears is gone, and the one that I think is gone is probably in that neighborhood where I get 2 revolutions on the input shaft for every 1 on the chuck. And me, I think I'm probably going to be using this one here all the way to the right. That's probably the one I'll use. It's pushing 4 revolutions here for every 1 at the chuck. And I can actually slow it down more by going to a larger pulley here. So if this is a 6-inch pulley, I could bump it up to an 8 or 10-inch if I find that that's too fast, and gear the whole thing down even slower, you know? So we'll see how she plays out. But everything in the transmission here seems to be functioning, except this little guy. Whatever it is, it's like a little spring-loaded push button thing here. Does not work, won't move, won't even try to move. Don't know what it's for. So I was wondering if it might be some sort of a locking mechanism for the chuck, but I don't know. I feel like it might be a little weak, you know? What else? So, over here. So here's these gears. Everything there seems to be functioning. Just these ones here, they'll hook up to this. It's a little sloppy, and they'll fall out if I got a feeling they'll fall out. But there's a cover plate. I don't have the cover plate on right now just because I was playing with it and learning it and everything. But I think once I get the cover plate on there, it'll keep them from falling out. But this one here, this has a bit of slop to it, and I might have to figure out a shim. You know, we'll see how that progresses. This here gear, this is the interchangeable one for, you know, your threading and stuff. This is the one that interchange. And I put the biggest one, which I believe is the slowest speed, on here because I don't plan on doing any threading work. I just want my cross slide to function as like an auto feed for doing, you know, machine work. So I just threw the biggest one on there. I figured, you know, try to get this thing moving as slow as possible. This here is also a gear, or like a high and a low almost, but it's pretty drastic. The You know, there's a pretty drastic difference between this. I bet for threading, it's probably closer to like coarse thread and fine thread or something like that. But I'm just treating it like a high and a low. Right now, that's high. That's the high speed. I kick it over here and it goes to like a low speed. It's kind of hard to function sometimes. I've been lubing it up with WD-40. And well, let me start into gear. See if I can get it to go. There it went. But yeah, I'm treating it like a high and low. Yeah, I was having a lot of trouble with it. I sprayed the snot out with WD-40 and she's getting better. But she is functioning like she should, though. You know what I mean? In fact, if you could see it, you'd see, well, here, let me take you over the cross side part of it, or whatever you want to call it. Okay? This is the area I still got a little work to do. Fix this camera. All right, so, like I said, you know, this will make the cross slide move automatically, and all I gotta do is turn that, and it'll start moving, which you probably can't see it. I got it kicked in pretty slow here. I mean, come on, let's go. This is that gear I said I'm having trouble with getting to move. So, is that in? Yeah, it's in. You probably can't see it, but it is moving very slowly. If I had my smaller gear in up here, it'd be a lot easier. You know what I mean? It would be turning faster. Be easier to see, but it is moving very slowly. So the idea here is just to get this geared to where I can use this as more of an auto feed for doing traditional machine work. I don't want to do any threading on this. Just like simple work. Nothing drastic. Now, you'll see it's wet. That's me. I'm just lubing it. I'm just spraying it with WD-40 and cleaner and stuff, and just getting everything to, you know, work nice and smooth. And I've been hosing the snot out of it. So, you know, just trying to get it to work really good. And it is. It's freaking smooth as crap. Now, some of you are probably curious about the play here. And I was checking it. So there's 0. Let me get her. So right there's 0. And I can feel the tension of it. And if I move it, whoop, so put her on 0. And then once I move it until she grabs again, we are 4 thousandths. So I thought it was going to be 3 thousandths, but it's 4 thousandths of play. So I mean, for the work that I'm doing, I can live with that. I'm not doing anything that precise, you know what I mean? But yeah, I do have 4 thousandths of play here. Tool post is functioning correctly. Everything there, except I broke this bolt. So this is the one thing that I got to repair next. So this bolt's supposed to be in here. Tightens this whole assembly up, keeps it from rotating on you. You know what I mean? And I was trying to get it loosened. And I got it to loosen up a little bit, but I think the reason it loosened up is because when I broke it, it released the pressure of the bolt holding it, if you know what I mean. Because once she broke, she started moving. So I'm going to see if I can get this to slide off. I haven't tried yet. Yep, it comes off. All right, pretty simple. She is busted. So, oh, okay. So this ain't the first time it's broken. We'll have to figure something out to fix this. So the bolt that broke, the inside part, you probably didn't see it, but it fell out already. Looks like it broke already, and somebody brazed it. So we'll have to figure out some other new form of locking it. You see it? You see it? Somebody broke it before, and they just brazed it. I'll figure something else out. I might see if I can locate a new piece. Probably be easier if I did that. But I'm looking here, and there's another set screw here. Right here. Maybe I'll just start using it instead. You know what I mean? Instead of this. There's another set screw here, right here, that would lock it down. I'll probably just do that. Because You know, I can put it right on there and just use that set screw. Let me lube that. There we go. There's the right size. Stick it on there. See if that'll make it tighten up. Because I could just use that. Yeah, that tightens her up. You know what I mean? Oh, here it is. There's the part that broke and fell out. But I could just use that instead until I get a new one. It'll work. I'm not machining big heavy parts. It's just aluminum, small aluminum pieces. Not too worried about it. If you're hearing that play, there's like a plate back here that clamps it to the bed. That plate is loose. I gotta tighten the bolts up. That's all that is. Yeah, I'm just gonna do that. And if I find that don't work out, I'll see if I can locate a new bottom. You know? As far as I'm concerned, I think I'm good as of right now. Let me clean this oil off my hands so I can adjust the camera. Oh, one thing to add is I haven't tore into this yet. I believe this is supposed to be the auto feed for the cross slide. I'll probably never use it, never even try to use it, so I'm probably never going to touch that. I'll probably never try to fix that. You know what I mean? As I think you can activate or deactivate this part of it and then activate this part of it, and it'll cause it to auto feed this way instead of this way. Or I can kick this and technically probably have it do both directions at the same time. But yeah, that's where we're at. I might fix it someday. We'll see. I want to see this thing actually turn and make, you know, chips fly. But there it is. The only thing really left to do is get the motor wired. Joey, I need to get the motor wired. I'm going to put a switch in. I'm debating on it. I think I want to put a switch up here. I'm thinking I want it up here. I could put it up here off of this too. Off this 2x6 I got hanging, but I'd rather have it on the machine itself. So I think I want to see about getting the switch mounted here. And I got 2 Allen bolts right here. I can make like a little bracket to put a switch here. That way it's right here, just in case worst case scenario, it's easy to reach, you know? That's what I'm thinking. Maybe a push button. That way it's just slap, it's off. A push button would be nice. I wonder if we can get, yeah. I bet we could find a push button switch for this. I need a 240 volt or 220 volt push button switch. I think that'd be the ideal. You know, worst case scenario, all you gotta do is slap it. I'm still waiting on my belts. This is, I think it's a 36-inch belt. That's what I ordered. And just to play it safe, I ordered 2 new belts. Instead of trying to match one up to this belt here, I just ordered 2 new ones. I measured it. This is about a 36-inch belt. So I just bought 2 new 36-inch belts. They're the last thing I'm waiting for to arrive, is to get this, you know, up and running. The pulley's mounted, key, you know, everything is done there. Now the key on the shaft is different than the pulley, and I had to rig up the key to work with the shaft and the pulley. It's a 1/4-inch key for the pulley, but the shaft is that one size smaller, and I just modified the key to work instead of buying that stepped key. You know what I mean? I have like a foot of key stock, so you know, why buy it? I just made one. But the only other thing I want to do is work it, see if I can get this chuck to spin off. Oh, and this here play kind of bugs me too. You know, I don't know how that's going to play out. I might need to figure something out. Or is that in? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how this play is going to affect it, if it will even affect it at all. You know what I mean? Having this. For the work that I'm doing now, I doubt it's going to matter much. I'm not doing anything stupid, drastic, or nothing. But this is the one thing that's bugging me, and I don't know what to do about it. That's just the slop in the gears. That's all you're hearing. So, I don't know. I don't know how much that's going to affect it. I'm not spending a whole lot of money on it. I mean, this tool post was given to me. You know, all I did was buy some pulleys and belts, really. And I could use that stuff in a motor. But I could use that on another project some other day if this doesn't turn out. You know what I mean? So, we'll see how she progresses. I would like to get a 3-jaw chuck for it, though. I'd like to get this off and figure out a 3-jaw chuck. But I want to run it to make sure it runs in a manner that I'm happy with before I do that, if you know what I mean. I don't want to get too crazy and find out that the thing runs like, you know, it's a turd. It's got a bunch of slop or something. She don't have, you know, she's got a little bit of in and out here. So, you know, we're going to have to figure something out. I'll probably have to shim that out of it, which it looks to be maybe 2/1000. It ain't a lot. And in fact, I do have shims for that here. So I can shim that out. But we'll see how it operates before I start getting into making all that stuff perfect. You know what I mean? So there's basically a brass shim in the front and the rear, and I just gotta make new ones, make it, you know, just a couple of thousandths wider and slap it in there, and it'll take all that slop out. That's all it is. So it's not really a big deal, just more time than anything. We're just machining up, basically making our own brass washer, and that'll take the in and out slop. But I want to see how this slop affects it, if it affects it at all. That's where we're at, and we'll know whether or not this lathe is going to be able to do everything I want to do once we get her wired up and start playing with it. But we're almost there. Almost.